Hi everyone. If you are in PR and you're constantly pitching journalists but getting ignored, here's the truth that most PR pitches fail because they are promotional instead of being newsworthy. And we also have a good news for you, which is your clients are already sitting on stories that journalists want. You just need to turn their results into media angles. So, in this video, I'm going to show you a simple 5 step framework that most PR teams use to transform client results into press coverage, backlinks, podcast invites, and journalist responses. And I'll also give you actual pitch templates that you can start using today. So let's get started. The biggest PR mistakes that teams make is that most PR teams pitch like this. Our client increased their revenue by 200% using our marketing strategy. Now, think about this pitch from the journalist POV. From a journalist point of view, this sounds like an advertisement. Journalists don't care about your client's success. What they care about is trends, data, news insights, or your personal insights, personal experience, lessons that you got from your journey that others can apply, contrarian perspectives. So instead of pitching success, you need to pitch insight. That's the shift, which means you need to have results, insights, story to get the coverage. So let's start and understand the 5 step framework for turning results into coverage. Step 1 is extract the story from the result. When a client reports a win, PR teams should immediately ask these questions. What problem did they solve? What changed in the market? What unexpected insight came out? What mistake did they avoid? And what numbers proved the result? For example, the client result was something like e commerce client increased conversions by 63%. This is not a story. But if you dig deeper, you can say something like, we discovered that removing discount codes increased conversions by 63%. Now that is a story. Why? Because it challenges common marketing advice, and journalists love that. Step 2 is to turn the result into a trend. Journalists rarely write about one company, they write about patterns. Your job is to frame the client result as part of a broader shift. For example, instead of pitching client approving hiring with AI, you need to pitch companies are replacing traditional CV screening with AI voice interviews. Here's what we are seeing. Now the journalist can write a trend story and your client becomes the example. Step 3 is to add data because data means coverage. The fastest way to get PR coverage is data driven storytelling. Take one client result and expand it into data. Example, instead of writing our client improved SEO traffic, turn it into something like we analyzed 150 SEO campaigns and discovered that pages over 3000 words generate 2 times more backlinks. Now you have a data study, and journalists love citing data. PR teams should always ask, can we analyze internal data? Can we run a quick survey? Can we extract industry insights? Because one dataset can generate more than 10 media pitches. So that's something that you need to get started soon. Next step is to create multiple angles from one result. This is where elite PR teams win. One client result can become multiple media stories. For example, client result was SaaS company reduced churn by 35%. Now, here are the possible media angles that they can use. Angle 1 could be why SaaS companies are shifting from onboarding emails to onboarding calls. Angle 2 can be the biggest churn mistake SaaS startups make. Angle 3 can be the onboarding metric most SaaS founders ignore. Angle 4 can be how reducing product features improved retention. You see, one result but 4 different angles and stories. So, that's what you can do as well. Step 5 is to package the story for journalists. Journalists want fast, usable information. And to make your pitch usable, your pitch should include the story angle, key numbers, one strong insight, a quick quote from your client, and mention why it matters now. For example, let me give you a pitch structure. You can start with the subject line saying data, why removing discount codes increased conversions by 63%. And then you write about it, answer why this is important, and that way you can create a strong pitch. Have a look at this template that I'm going to share now. So, this is the email pitch, and you have the subject line which clearly depicts what's going to be in the email body and what journalists can expect from this. Then you are keeping it very concise, very clear, very simple, but insightful and credible at the same time. So, this is the sort of pitch that you need to consider while you are creating your pitch. You need to make sure that you understand what the journalist would want, and then you draft your pitch very carefully. So, the next thing that we are going to talk about is the PR goldmine, which is something that most teams ignore. One of the biggest missed opportunities in PR is internal client data, and that's something that is available to you all the times, but is something that most PR teams ignore, as I said. Most agencies are sitting on SEO campaign data, hiring data, e commerce data, conversion experiments, marketing results, and so much of data. This is journalist gold. Instead of pitching the client directly, turn the data into industry reports, trend insights, contrarian findings, benchmarks. Example, instead of writing our agency helped clients build backlinks, you can create something more powerful, which is something like we analyzed 500 digital PR campaigns and discovered that reactive PR generates 3 times more backlinks than traditional outreach. Now, you have created a headline, and this is something that journalists are actively looking for. Let's talk about a simple PR content engine, a simple system that PR teams can implement. Every time a client gets a result, create a story sheet, or rather PR story sheet, where you include your results and key numbers, unexpected insights. You can also talk about industry trends, possible angles, relevant journalists. Then turn that into Harrow or responses, journalist pitches, LinkedIn thought relationship, podcast talking points, guest article ideas. Because one client result can easily produce 20 pieces of PR content. This is something similar to what we discussed earlier, where we saw that one news or one information can get you 4 different news angles. So, this is similar to that. Now, the example of a result that generated, you know, media coverage. So let's look at the example. Let's say that your client result was a recruitment company noticed remote job applications increased dramatically after introducing asynchronous interviews. Now, if you want to convert this client result into PR angle, you need to write something like the hiring process is becoming asynchronous, and to make it more credible, you need to add supporting data like 40% faster hiring, 3 times more international applicants, or 27% higher candidate satisfaction. Now the pitch has become how asynchronous interviews are reshaping global hiring, which is also a future of work story, because this is not a company promotion clearly, and that's the difference between ignored pitches and media coverage. There is also a quick template that I can share with you to get um, much more coverage. And whenever a client of yours gets a result, you can directly use this template honestly. So, what does it include? This template should include result, which is what happened, then data, what numbers supported, then insight, what surprised you. Talk about trend, which is what does this say about the industry. Add contrarian angle, which is what belief does this challenge. Then add a headline, what would the journalist write. If you can answer these questions, you have a media story ready already. So the secret to consistent PR coverage is that the actual successful PR teams don't wait for big announcements, they build story pipelines. Every week, they ask their clients that what experiments did you run? What surprised you? What worked unexpectedly? What failed? Failures are often better stories than wins, and that's something that is raw and is actually valuable for journalists and their audience. And journalists love lessons. So, if you remember one thing from this video, you need to remember that PR is not about pitching clients, it's about pitching insights from your clients. Results are just the raw material, the story is what creates coverage. So, if you run PR campaigns and want more backlinks, media mention, and journalist replies, you need to start building a client result story. And let me know what you think of this video. And if there is any question, as usual, you can drop it in the comment box down below. And I will see you in the next one.